And it came to pass that when Isaac was old, and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son, and said unto him, My son. And he said unto him, Behold, here am I. And he said, Behold now, I am old, I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison, and make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau his son. And Esau went to the field to hunt for venison, and to bring it. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, Behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, Bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat and bless thee before Yahweh before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. Go now to the flock, and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. And his mother said unto him, Upon me be thy curse, my son. Only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. And he went and fetched, and brought them to his mother. And his mother made savory meat, such as his father loved. And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands, and upon the smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and the bread, which she had prepared, into the hand of her son Jacob. And he came unto his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here am I. Who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, How is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Because Yahweh thy God brought it to me. And Isaac said unto Jacob, Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him, and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy, as his brother Esau's hands, so he blessed him. And he said, Art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Isaac said unto him, Come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near, and kissed him. And he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which Yahweh hath blessed. Therefore, God give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he also had made savory meat, and he brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise, and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn, Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, Who? Where is he that hath taken venison and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him, yea, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and hath taken away thy blessing. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
With American warships and the USS Abraham Lincoln Strike Group operating nearby, Iran turned its Revolution Anniversary rallies into a stage to warn foreign adversaries, pairing patriotic imagery with stark threats aimed at Washington and Tel Aviv. Crowds repeatedly chanted against what they called decades of US crimes and Israeli atrocities, invoking sanctions, assassinations, and the Gaza wars as proof that Iran must stand firm against Western pressure. State-organized marches saturated the air with the familiar slogans Death to America and Death to Israel, which loudspeakers, clerics, and TV presenters all amplified as tensions over nuclear talks and possible strikes climbed. Demonstrators burned Israeli and American flags laid across roads, while nearby authorities displayed 5 mock coffins draped in US flags, turning the streets into a visual tableau of defiance directed at Washington and its allies. The coffins carried printed names and photos of senior US commanders, including CENTCOM Chief Brad Cooper and Army Chief of Staff Randy George, implicitly casting them as potential targets if conflict breaks out. Iranian officials hailed the huge crowds as proof that, despite sanctions, protests, and war fears, the country remains firmly anchored in the revolutionary legacy of 1979, using the mobilization to counter narratives of a regime weakened by internal dissent. As Iran filled the streets with anti-US rallies and threats of retaliation, President Donald Trump hosted Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House, turning their talks into a parallel show of coordination and resolve over how to handle Tehran's nuclear ambitions and regional posture. After hours of discussions, Trump said that nothing definitive was agreed regarding Iran, stressing that while he heard Israel's push for a tougher line, his main takeaway was to insist that diplomatic negotiations with Tehran must continue for now. Trump reiterated that his preference is a negotiated deal curbing Iran's nuclear program, yet warned that if talks break down or Iran plays games, then the United States will have to do something very tough, widely read as a threat of renewed military action. Tehran has answered such warnings by vowing that any US strike would trigger direct missile attacks on American bases across the Middle East, cautioning host governments that they, too, would be exposed if war erupts. In the background, the Pentagon has ordered a second aircraft carrier strike group to prepare for possible deployment to the region, giving Washington the option of rapidly doubling its naval punch near Iran if the president decides to escalate. This comes on top of a build-up that already includes the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Group, additional warships, and reinforced air defense assets, creating a layered US posture meant both to deter Iran and to be ready for rapid strikes if required. All these moves unfolded just days after US and Iranian officials held indirect nuclear talks in Muscat, Oman, on February 6th, a cautious first step that diplomats described as useful but inconclusive, with both sides agreeing only to keep talking while mistrust and military signaling grow in parallel.
Alright guys, as we expected, it looks like all this talk about peace and negotiations with Iran was just to buy time to get military into position. Now, they're still acting like there's potential for talks here, but Trump just came out and made it clear that the regime change is going to be the best thing. That is the target. That is what they're going for. And he goes on to say that they've done 47 years of nothing but talking. And they're not going to sit around, obviously, and wait to listen to any more talking, he says. They're making moves. And with that said, the Pentagon has now deployed the largest air power in history. Iran has turned around and blinded the radars coming from the east out of the Gulf. So they're trying to blind anything trying to fly in from that side. So there's been a NOTAM put up in this region specifically for today. Today's NOTAM, February 17th, says the completion of electronic darkness. That's what they've got listed here. According to the latest data, Iran's defensive plan reaches completion at dawn. So there's been something going on where they've been trying to blind anyone coming in from a certain direction. And now the U.S. military is positioned from all angles. I think they were just waiting on one aircraft carrier, and I don't even think they're waiting on that. I think if they could start striking at any time, that they're putting the word out there, they're waiting on that just to make it seem like that. They're ready. Everything that I see shows, all signs point to they're getting ready to hit them in an extended wave with like multiple different strikes. It's not just going to be a one-night thing. It looks like they're going to go hard on this. They're not backing down. Of course, Israel right there in Trump's ear all the way. And at any time, this could unfold. You don't move this many military assets into one area, this massive, without something going down. So I expect that here within days, weeks for sure, a move will begin to be made on Iran. So be prepared. You're going to see a reverberating effect around the world through the markets and all that. Join me for the live stream.
This is a World War III emergency update. So it is about to go down. We're about to witness either one of the biggest multi-spectrum decapitation, blitzkrieg, get in and get out attacks ever in history, or this is going to be the beginning of a prolonged war with Iran, which will dovetail into the broader geopolitical tensions fomenting into full-blown World War III with China and Russia. This is it. It's a foregone conclusion. It is a fait accompli. Disregard all of the sanguine language of the Iranian diplomats who are saying that, oh yeah, talks are going good. Progress is being made. There is no progress being made, okay? They have to say that, because if they don't say that, they will spook their population. It will muck up their logistics lines. It'll get people panicked. They'll be flooding into the streets, trying to escape the cities. And that's the worst thing that a military planner ever wants. This is why before the war started in Ukraine, if you recall, I did a video on it a week prior. I talked about the normalcy bias. I said, they're going to invade. The Ukrainian government was saying, no, don't worry. There's not going to be a war. This is because they needed to ensure that those corridors were cleared so that they could maneuver defensively, not panic the population. They knew the panic was going to come, but at least when it came, they could impose martial law. Now, Iran has had a year to impose martial law, but they haven't. And they could have had their population normalized to this, but they haven't. Now, they were doing some drills, live fire drills in the Strait of Hormuz today. There was a notice to airmen simulating full-blown closure of the Strait of Hormuz. That's the footage that you are seeing here, okay? So they're getting ready to close this strait. This is marinetracker.com. This is the corridor in question where hundreds of vessels pass through every day. 20 million barrels of oil go through there every single day. That is Iran's nuclear weapon that's not a nuclear weapon, okay? But I want to show you something here before I forget, because I'm watching this video and they're dropping clues about what they're going to do. And they've known for some time that the Iranians have had these. So when it's not like the U.S. has an unlimited supply of missiles. And so when you're picking targets, you have to be very careful and calculated.
See what this new AI that predicts Powerball winning numbers did for a simple farmer from Texas.
Be very careful and calculated. Because the Strait of Hormuz is in total control of Iran. I mean, they could hit it from a variety of different places, plus these islands. You see this semi-truck here? Well, these semis have missiles in them. And so you don't know if what you're seeing is one of the thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of semi-trucks that are driving around Iran, or you don't know if it has missiles in it. And so this has been the way in which they camouflage their weapon systems, in addition to using shipping containers and things like that. And this type of asymmetrical warfare is going to greatly complicate operations. And if the Iranian government can maintain a centralized form of control, then this could be a very, very long war. Now, what could possibly happen is that the U.S. will go and they'll do this attack. If it's successful, then it will be successful. If it's not successful, they'll tell us it was successful anyways, and they'll turn tail and they'll go home. Or this is just the beginning of a great war, because anything can happen once this floodgate opens. You have Chinese ships, you have Russian ships that are in the theater, as we're going to discuss the specifics of that today. Of course, they are there collecting data because they know war with the United States is imminent. So the Chinese ISR ships are out there collecting as much data as they possibly can to inform their future war with the United States over Taiwan. So this shit is going to go down. I mean, this is going to get absolutely crazy. Now, of course, they're leveraging AI. So this could be a very swift.
Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahweh Shai, Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahweh Shai, Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahweh Shai, Barakati Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Ba, Recha HaKodash, Kol Thapa Arath, Hawad Wahaloyim, Ratwatam Yatla, Allah Hayanawa, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Ba, Recha HaKodash. And what I just said in the Lashon Kodash, the Lashon Kodash being the ancient Paleo-Hebrew, or in other words, the true biblical Hebrew for holy tongue or language. And what I just said is, all glory, honor, and praises abundantly and continuously to our power, Yahweh, the true name of our Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly and incorrectly calls God, and the name of His only begotten Son, our Savior, our Messiah, our Deliverer, Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, who the world ignorantly and incorrectly calls Jesus Christ, in, or in other words, through the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and respect to the brothers teaching and pushing this truth out the four corners of the earth, to the hopeful elect, the 144,000 and the 1/3, as well as the rest of the elect, scattered abroad amongst the heathen nations to the four corners of the earth, east, north, south, and west. To you I say, Shalom. This is your brother Ra'ib Tezadakwa coming back at you again, all through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, with another lesson. Yahweh Ratazah is going to be edifying and encouraging for you Achim and any Achwaf that may be listening and or watching. All the end-time biblical prophecies are being fulfilled. All the end-time biblical prophecies are being fulfilled. It's so much going on. And that's the reason why, typically I feature one video clip or one clip from a video or something like that. But here lately, more frequently, I'm starting to do video montages where I do, typically three clips from three different videos, because it's so much going on and I'm trying to squeeze and cram so much into each and every video just to, really drive home the biblical prophetic point that we are at the very, very end of the end. Okay. And what the people of the world do not understand is that there is a man, okay? There is a man on the planet. There is a man on the planet who his job here on earth is to foment, instigate, stir up, create, cause, push, propagate wickedness, evil, misery, suffering, and bloodshed. There is a man who is on the earth, and that is his job. And he's put here for that. Okay? And people do not understand that. Okay? And to drive that point home, or to get a precept about that, okay, straight down the middle with this, Proverbs 16:4, and we might as well get the 5 with it, because that man that I was telling you about, and I'm speaking of him in the singular, but there's a caveat, there's an asterisk on that singular, and there's an asterisk on that man singular. So we'll deal with that asterisk next, right? But that man is the proud man. He is the proud man, okay? The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. That's talking about that man whose job it is to stir up, foment, instigate, create, and propagate all manner of wickedness, evil, misery, pain, suffering, death, bloodshed, and all of that. Proverbs 16:4, Yahweh hath made all things. So everything that's happening, Salaki, I don't typically stop in the middle of reading the precept, but I want to say this as well before I read this precept. Everything that's being done on planet Earth towards those ends that I just told you about, wickedness and evil and bloodshed and misery and pain and suffering. It's all on purpose, and it's being done by this man, and this precept is going to tell you that. Yahweh hath made all things for himself, and that all is universal. That all is absolute. And I have to say that, because whenever you see words like every and all and things like that, words like that, it's not always absolute. There are times when words like that are bounded by the context. They're limited in scope based on the context. See, so it's not absolute. It's not universal. It's not unlimited. It's not covering everything. Okay. So you got to determine, and usually it's clear from the context when you hear words like that, whether it's absolute, it has a broad scope kept covering everything, or whether it's limited in scope. So it's not everything absolutely, it's everything within this certain set. It's not all absolutely, it's all within this certain category, or all within this certain group, or all within this certain set. So you got to determine that. Here, this all is absolute. Yahweh hath made all things for himself. This is covering everything. No exceptions. No bounds. Absolute. Yahweh hath made all things for himself. Yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. And if you watch the other lesson series that I've been working on recently in the other parts, then you know that we've gone to... Recently, we just went to, I think it was a different lesson series, though. I think it was this lesson series here. It must have been this one here, America, the most hypocritical nation ever. But we went to Malachi 1, the first chapter, verses 3 and 4. And we put that with First Maccabees 2 and like 9. Might be the 10th verse, 9th or 10th verse, somewhere right about there. And we use those to identify who the wicked is according to Scripture. Okay, and we put it with others as well. Daniel 4 and 17, Job 9 and 24. Okay, and we also put that with like Job 30. There's other precepts you can bring in as well to really drive that point home. There is a man on the planet who is the vile, wicked, evil, bloody, violent man, and that's what he's made to do. That's what he's made to be. Okay, that one man who is more than one man. Okay, Yahweh hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked, the Most High made the wicked. It makes sense, right? If the Most High didn't make the wicked, then where'd the wicked come from? Okay, the Most High made all things. All things were created by the Most High, not directly, but He created all things. Okay, you got to understand Genesis, the first chapter. I'm not going to get sidetracked on it, but I'm going to just give you the rundown. Let him who has ears to hear. Okay, the Most High only made one. I'm going to use thing, but put that in context, in quotations. The Most High only created one thing, entity, or what have you. And I'm going to specify in a second, so it will be an entity. The Most High only created one thing himself, and that is his only begotten Son, who proceeded forth out of his mouth. He spoke Yahushai, the only begotten Son, into existence. That's why one of his titles is the Word of God, because he proceeded forth out of the mouth of the Most High. Okay, and outside of that, the Most High didn't make anything else directly, but he gets all of the credit, because the first thing Yahushua did, in accordance with the instructions and the command of the Father, the Father gave the command. Yahushua was he took the command and obeyed it, and he was told how to do it. And the first thing he did was make his brethren the Elohim, and that's the Hebrew word. Elohim is the Hebrew word translated to God in Genesis 1. That's not the Most High himself. That's his top son, and that's his top son, and the brethren of his top son, and the brethren would be the Elohim. And Yahushai, the top son, the only begotten son, first thing he did, in accordance with the Father's instruction, is make his brethren the Elohim. And then the Elohim, along with Yahushai, okay, the Elohim under Yahushai in charge, for lack of a better way to put it, Yahushai, in command, okay, the Elohim helped Yahushai make everything else in accordance with the Father's instructions. Yahushai in charge. Yahushai, on top, so to speak, in charge, for lack of a better way to put it. Okay, so the Yahushai Hamashiach, the only begotten Son, and the Elohim, his brethren, made everything in accordance with the Father's instructions. That's why it's the Hebrew word Elohim. And the Father, our Father, Yahweh, our Father, Yahweh, gets all of the credit because he created, it was his plan, number one, his command, his plan, his instructions, and he made the one that made everything else, all right, including his brethren that helped him create everything else. So the Father gets all the credit, and that's what you see taking place in Genesis 2 and 4. Genesis 2 and 4, that's where you see the Father mentioned for the first time. He was not mentioned at all in Genesis 1 because that's Yahweh Shai, the only begotten Son, and his brethren, the Elohim, making everything just like the Father commanded. The Father sitting back, watching his sons, okay, his only begotten Son, as well as his newly created sons, the Elohim, do everything that he commanded and instructed to do in accordance with his instructions to perfection, to the T. And then when you get to Genesis 2 and 4, that's where the Most High himself, Yahweh, is mentioned, right? So the Father gets the credit as the ultimate creator, but he only created one thing himself, and that would be Yahweh Shah Mashiach, the only begotten Son. But he gets the credit. He gets the credit as the creator. All right. So Yahweh hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked. Okay. Everything, seen and unseen. Okay. Yahweh Shai and the Elohim made it all, but the Father gets the credit. And it tells you, doesn't it say that seen and unseen? And I don't think it necessarily says that wording, but that's what it's talking about over. It might say it somewhere else. For some reason, that wording's in my mind. Okay. Right. But that's what it's talking about here in St. John 1 and 1 to 3. But all things, I want to focus in on that verse 3. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Okay. And that includes the spiritual realm. So spiritual realm and physical realm. Right. So when you get over here and it says Yahweh had made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. The wicked was created for the day of evil. And I want to ask you a question. What day are we in? Okay. This day here can be a literal day of evil, and also a metaphoric day of evil, meaning a period of time. Okay. And when you're looking at the metaphoric day of evil, or the period of time of evil, we're in it. Let's look at this word for day. It is the Hebrew word yawam, and you see it can mean a literal 24-hour day, okay, as defined by evening and morning in Genesis 1, but it also can be as a division of time. It can be time, period, okay? So it's not always referring to a literal 24-hour period, Salakia, but it can be, and in this verse here, it's referring to both. We're in the evil period of time. We're in the period of time of evil. We're in the day of evil. We're in it right now. And also there is an evil day that's coming, which would be the day that the thermonuclear missiles are fired. Okay. This man is made for the day of evil, and we're in that day. Okay. And he's made for this. So all the things that are being done on purpose. Okay. They're being done intentionally. This undeniable march towards the Third World War, the intentional collapsing of the economy, inflation just running up more and more and more, and it ain't stopping soon. It ain't stopping. There's no end in sight to the inflation. Okay. Geoengineered winter storms affecting hundreds of millions of Americans, and so many more things. These things are all being done on purpose. An economy like America, Babylon the Great's economy, cannot fail like this on its own. It has to be meticulously and diligently driven to failure. It has to be. It's too big and too robust to just fail on its own. It has to be meticulously and painstakingly driven to failure, where all the exact right things to keep it going in that direction are diligently performed. Otherwise, it'll correct itself. It'll right itself, because it's so large. These things are all being done intentionally, and there's a man who's doing them, because we're in the wicked day. You can say that, but we're in the evil day. And that ties in also with the second Ezra 8 and 50, which reads, "For many great miseries shall happen to occur." No, be done. Somebody's doing them. Not happen to occur. Oh, what an unfortunate turn of events. Oh, again, another unfortunate turn of events. My. There's unfortunate turns of events everywhere. No, these things are being done intentionally. For many great misery shall be done to them that in the latter times, meaning the end times, the last days, the evil day, that's where we're at, shall dwell in the world. Okay? That live on planet Earth. That's what that means. You live on planet Earth, right? Because they have walked in great pride. The Most High has made this devil for the evil day to do the things he's doing, and it's bringing judgment and vengeance and wrath, as well as the Most High the Most High is not only doing it with him, because the Most High is controlling other things as well outside of that. Okay, but one of the ways that the Most High is bringing judgments and vengeance and wrath on this world is by having the devil, the wicked, do what they were created to do. Okay? Even for the wicked day, even the wicked rather, for the day of evil, right? See, people don't understand that. There is a man, put an asterisk on that, we're going to deal with that next, who was created for the purpose of doing all the wickedness that he's doing on planet Earth right now. Not that he hasn't been doing wickedness all along. Oh, yes, he has. But it's all been a build up to the right here and right now, because this is where he really is going to earn his keep. This is the time when he's really going to earn his keep. Okay? And he's going to put a hell of a massive cherry on top with Tazariah Iquab, Jacob's trouble. Okay? Slaughtering and killing so many Israelites. Because as we read in the opening passage, that's what's in his heart, is to kill his brother Jacob. Okay? Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to Yahweh. Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to Yahweh. This man is the proud man. I don't know that we're going to get to Habakkuk tonight, so let me get that. Okay? To drive that point home. Habakkuk 2 and 4. This is talking about Jacob and Esau here. Esau is first, Jacob is second. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. Well, his soul which is lifted up. Yeah, lifted up with what? Look at the NLT. Look at the proud. That's what it's lifted up with. Okay? And that ties directly into the, I'm not going to get the whole thing. That's why it's hard to get through these lesson series, because there's just so much to go into, and it all connects and it all ties. Okay? The pride of thine heart. Who's so proud? The vision of Obadiah, thus saith Adonai Yahweh concerning Edom. Well, Edom, is that a man? Yes and no, or yes and yes, no, or what you'll see in a second. This Edom here, it is a man, but it's also, this here is talking about the whole nation. Thus saith Adonai Yahweh concerning Edom. The whole nation, which we're dealing with the asterisk now, can be referred to in the singular. The whole nation can be referred to in the singular. Okay? And that's who's being talked about here in Obadiah. And when it says, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. So when we go back over here to Habakkuk 2, behold, his soul which is lifted up with pride, is not upright in him. This man is the most proud man on the planet. Okay? The most proud man on the planet. And of those that are of the nation of Esau Edom, the American Edomites, the Babylonian Edomites, because this is Babylon the Great, they are the most proud of the proud. Okay, that's why it says in the book of Daniel, whose look was more stout than his fellows. All of them are proud. They're the most proud people on the planet. But the American Babylonian Edomites, they are the most proud of the proud. Okay? But the just, okay, the first part, that's Esau, but the just shall live by his faith. Right? And it says down here, yea, also because he transgresseth by one, that's his philosophies, his doctrines, his ideals, all the ways of living that he pushes, all the ideals and philosophies and all of that he pushes, right? That's his wine. He is a proud man. And we're going to come and deal with this once we get finished with Genesis, but I wanted to point that out because it says here, everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to Yahweh. Though hand join in hand, some of them want to grab hands with us and sing Kumbaya and say, we're sorry and our forefathers were bad forefathers. If only I'd been around back then I would have done some good for y'all, and it's all bullshit. And the Most High isn't buying any of it. That's why it says here, though hand join in hand, he shall not be unpunished. It don't matter. You can go. Oh, and it also speaks in the book of Job that they shall seek to please the poor. The poor is talking about us, the Israelites. And it isn't going to change anything. It isn't going to help anything. Okay? It isn't going to help anything at all. At all, rather. Okay? Let's deal with that asterisk. We've already started to deal with it, but let's deal with it completely here by going to Genesis 36 and 8. You got to understand that nations, specifically the two important nations, for opposite reasons though, the two important nations, Esau, Edom, important or significant. There's another term I usually use for it. It's escaping me how I usually put it. That's a better way to put it. But anyway, you got two important nations, okay? Two special, that's it. Two special nations. The Edomites are special in wickedness, whereas Jacob, the Israelites, we're special in righteousness because we're created to be the righteous. We're created to be the righteous. Okay, we're all messed up now as a nation, but the elect, well, we're trimming our wick, we're trimming our wicks, in preparation for the return of Yahweh HaMashiach. We're preparing ourselves for the return of the bridegroom. Okay, we're seeking the old paths. We're rehearsing the righteous acts. We're purifying ourselves, washing our hands, cleansing our hands to the best of our ability. Okay, still not perfect, but we're doing it the best we can through the Spirit and power of Yahweh HaMashiach, because we're created to be the righteous, and that's what we're going to be in the kingdom of heaven perfectly. But the Edomites, they are the wicked, created for the evil day. Thus dwelt Esau, singular, that man, Esau, Edom, in Mount Seir. Esau is equals Edom. Esau is Edom. So that man, the wicked, is Esau, but Esau is not just him, it's all who come from his loins, all who come from his lineage, all who come from his bloodline, all whose lineage, heritage, and bloodline through their fathers goes back to Abraham. It dropped to Abraham because he was rejected. I meant to just say all whose lineage, heritage, and bloodline through their fathers goes back to Esau. Okay? Yes, he does go back to Abraham. He does go back to Isaac, but he's rejected, as we're going to read in a second. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. So when we go back over here to this Proverbs 16:4, and it says, Yahweh hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked, that's Esau, Edom. Okay? For the day of evil. And for anybody who isn't going to check out the whole lesson series or hearing this for the first time, let me just run through this real quick. And I hated Esau, the Most High speaking, for the burden of the word of Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith Yahweh. So these are the words of our Father Yahweh, who the world ignorantly and incorrectly calls God. And he says this, and I hated Esau. He don't change. Malachi 3:6, James 1:17. He don't change. He hated Esau then. He hates Esau now, and he's going to hate Esau until he gets rid of him. And he's going to use us to do that. Obadiah, the 18th verse. It's only one chapter. Ezekiel 25, 12 through 14. And he's going to hate him until he does away with him. And I hated Esau, and talking about the whole nation of Esau. And again, driving home that the singular is plural here, because in verse 4, he doesn't say Esau, he says Edom. But remember, Esau is Edom. We just read that, Genesis 36:8. And I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste. Oh, by the way, that's the so-called white man, generally speaking. Okay, we'll get that in Genesis 25 and 25. And I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness, because he hates them, and he hadn't changed. Whereas Edom, right, because it wasn't just about Esau, it's about him and all of his descendants. Everybody, men and women, whose lineage, heritage, and bloodline through their fathers go back to Esau, you're Edom, and he hates you. Our Father Yahweh hates you. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build. But you might say, well, why does Heavenly Father let them build if he hates them? Because if you don't let somebody do something that they're trying to do, that's hatred, but that's not max level hatred. And the hatred that our Father Yahweh has for Esau, it is max level hatred. And if you want to demonstrate max level hatred, then you let someone do what it is they want to do, and you may even help them a little bit. Because in order to demonstrate max level hatred, you got to let them do what they want to do, and right when they're about to sit down and enjoy themselves, then you destroy it right in front of their face. See, this is max level hatred. Okay? Job 20. That's what this is talking about. Okay? This whole chapter here, but I want to show you, I want to read to you the verse that makes the point of what I was just telling you about. Right here. Job 20 and 23. This is how our Father Yahweh feels about the wicked, the Edomites. When he is about to fill his belly, let me see yes, when he is about to fill his belly, in other words, he's finished preparing his meal, which the meal would be a metaphor for the Novus whiskey order. Okay, I mixed Latin, English, and Latin and English there, right? That was the November whiskey Oscar. Okay, all right, the Novus Ordo. Put that with the Seclorum. Okay, you know what that is. That's what they're running to right now. They're seeking to put the finishing touches on that right now, which ties back into Genesis 27. That's why I read it. You cannot understand the end without understanding the beginning. You have to understand the beginning. When he is about to fill his belly, he's about to fill his belly now. He's putting his finishing touches on the preparations for the meal. The finishing touches are being done to the meal right now. The meal is ruling this world and instituting his November whiskey to the order. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him. The Most High letting him do it. Letting him get right to the point where he's done and just about ready to put the first morsels in his mouth. Just about finished. Ready to put the first morsel in his mouth. And the Most High is going to do what? Then the Most High is going to cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. And it talks about the iron weapon. That's talking about the thermonuclear missiles. Okay? So when we go back over here, that's why our Father Yahweh says, thus saith Yahweh of hosts in verse 4, they shall build. Okay? He's going to get that meal ready. He's going to, Salaki, man, I'm tired. He's going to get that meal ready and he's going to sit down to eat, and then the Most High is going to destroy it and him. Okay? They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them Esau Edom, the border of wickedness. That means you're the wicked, man. And the people against, the family against, the nation against, all synonymous in this context, whom Yahweh, our Father Yahweh, hath indignation forever, the people of his curse to judgment. Isaiah 34. And what's that, 5? Yeah, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. The sword is a metaphor for the thermonuclear missiles, that iron weapon over there in Job 20. And bathed in heaven, meaning the missiles are going to fly through the sky, fly through the air, the atmosphere, low Earth orbit. Behold, it, the sword, which is a metaphor for the thermonuclear missiles, shall come down upon Idumea, which is the Greek way of saying Edom. It's going to come down on the Edomites. He shall flee from the iron weapon. He's going to go into his bunkers and whatnot. Okay? And upon the people of my curse to judgment, which is saying the same thing as the people against whom Yahweh have indignation forever. Means the same thing. Okay? So that's your Edomites, man. That's who it is. Let me see. Is there something else I wanted to get before I get into this? Because all these things are being done intentionally on purpose, because this man was created for these things. And another thing, before we touch on the Genesis, is this man, let me see here. Right, I said I was going to show you that that Hebrews, I want to get it now. I don't, let me just go ahead and get it now, and we can get it again. Okay. And I also want to show you we'll hold off on that. I want to show you the Revelation 6:4 connection. Okay. Okay. Because the rider on the red horse here, it is Esau Edom, the wicked, the border of wickedness, the man created for the evil day, which we're in, purposefully doing all the things that he's doing on the earth right now to try to get his birthright and his blessing back. Really more about the blessing, trying to get his blessing back, because he despised the birthright. So he's trying to get his blessing back, which is rulership of the earth. He's trying to get that back when it was only his on paper, and he was never going to keep it, because our father Yahweh, who the world ignorantly and incorrectly calls God, had already told Rebekah that it was going to Jacob. Although it was technically at the time of their birth, it was slotted to go to Esau. It was never going to stay that way. And that's why Rebekah had the spirit on her. The Most High put the spirit on her to do what she did, because that was her believing what the Most High had told her. Okay, she knew what the Most High had told her through the prophet, and so she was acting based on that, and the Most High was behind that. Okay, it was never going to be Esau's. It was his on paper, but it was never going to stay his. The Most High Yahweh had already spoken it. And that's why Rebekah had the spirit on her to do what she was doing. And ultimately, she convinced Jacob, because Jacob wasn't really with it at first, because he didn't want to bring a curse on himself. But it all worked out because the Most High was with it. The Most High set it up that way. That's why it happened that way. Okay? And however the Most High decided to do it, it was never going to stay with Esau. The Most High had already said it. And there went out another horse that was red, white, red, and power was given to him that sat thereon. All right, whoever's sitting on this horse, he's got to be associated with red. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. Why is there so much war in the earth today? Well, you got multiple ways you can answer that, but we're going to give them both, because they all apply and they tie in together. Okay. Because you got the rider on the red horse in control and rulership of the earth, and because it's end time biblical prophecy. Wars and rumors of wars. Matthew 24, Luke 21, Mark 13, 2 Ezra 16. Okay? And those two answers go hand in hand. Okay? They kind of like the same answer. Okay? They're put them together and you're getting a more complete answer. There went out another horse that was red. Why red? And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. So whoever's riding this horse, he's got to be associated with red. And I wonder if the color red is associated with anything. I wonder, color psychology. I wonder if red is associated, if they have any meaning, or is it just arbitrary? Why red? Okay. And whoever this man is, or whoever's riding on the red horse, he has to be associated with that red, whatever it means. And power was given to him to take peace from the earth. So he's taking peace from the earth. That's right. The rider on the red horse is in control. He's in power. He's in control. He's ruling the earth. Okay. And that they should kill one another. Right. He's the violent, bloody man. And there was given unto him a great sword. Do you remember hearing anything else about a sword in this lesson so far? You should recall a sword was mentioned in Genesis 27. And that's because the rider on the red horse is Esau Edom. And yes, red is associated with something. You can bring in 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to get that one. You can read that one on your own. It ties in beautifully and perfectly, but I'm going to show you this in Isaiah 1 and 18. Okay, it's color psychology, right? You asked if red is associated with anything. Come now, and let us reason together, saith Yahweh. Our Father Yahweh is speaking to us. We were going off. Though your sins be as scarlet. Scarlet is a deep, rich red. Let me see what it says here for scarlet. But that's what scarlet is. I'm just curious what they put for it. It's a deep, rich red. It's not your basic, regular red. It's a deep, rich red. Almost like a vibrant, glowing red almost. And that's an indication of our sins being abundant, being great. Okay, that's why it's scarlet instead of just red. Okay, but you notice that it says as crimson and then red like scarlet, because crimson and scarlet are basically the same thing. They're deep red, they're deep, rich, vibrant reds, not regular reds, not like a flat basic red, not like a toy red. No, they're deep, rich, vibrant reds, showing that our sins and our wickedness and our iniquity was very great. Okay, let's see here, scarlet. Okay, crimson. Yeah, it doesn't really go, but it's a deep, rich red. I just was curious. Okay. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson. Again, crimson and scarlet are basically the same thing. Deep, rich, vibrant reds. And the comparison here is sins being red. Sins being like crimson and scarlet, red. They shall be as wool, showing you that the color red in the scriptures is associated with wickedness, evil, sin, iniquity. Tying into the 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, though that the man of sin, the son of perdition. The man of sin, man, singular. Take out man of sin and put in Esau, singular. But wait a minute, Esau is Edom. So that singular is actually plural. You're right. It's talking about the whole nation, not just him. It starts with him, but it's everyone that proceeded forth from his loins. All whose lineage, heritage, and bloodline through their fathers goes back to Esau. The she-devils too. Okay? They are the sinful, wicked people. Okay? And red is associated with sin. Okay? But then when you go to Genesis 25 and 25, and while we're here, we'll dig in. Okay, for whatever much time we still go tonight. When you go to Genesis 25 and 25, and the first came out red all over. Let me just show you what I was telling you here. Okay. And the children struggled together within Rebekah's womb, it's talking about, within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? In other words, what does it mean they were struggling together? The NLT does a pretty decent job here. But the two children struggled with each other in her womb. They were fighting. The babies in the womb were fighting. Okay, now, and I'm not going to get into it too deep, but I'm going to just simply say, because it was Jacob and Esau fighting in the womb because we're enemies. Okay, they're the wicked, we're the righteous. Okay, and it goes deeper than that. Okay, but I'm going to stop there because I'm already at 55 minutes and I haven't even cracked open. I'm just starting to crack open the main precept passage I wanted to get. Okay, so she asked, what's all this turmoil in my womb? And Yahweh said unto her through a prophet, 2 nations. Okay, Esau, that one baby, is a whole nation. And you see there that the singular is actually plural. And the other nation is Jacob. You see again that the singular is plural. Okay, and Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations. One nation was Esau. Just one baby in the womb, but he's a whole nation. The whole nation of Esau, Edom, is in his loins. And then the other nation is Jacob. And the whole nation of Jacob, name later changed to Israel. That's why we're sometimes referred to as Jacob in the scriptures. But Israel is in his loins. The whole nation was in the loins of Jacob. The whole nation was in the loins of Esau. Those 2 nations both were in her womb. 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. Are not the so-called blacks and the so-called whites, which are actually Edomites, are not we 2 completely and totally diametrically opposed different types of people? As opposite can be. Same thing with the so-called Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians. So much flavor, so much style, so much, just let's step off of those types of things and just talk about, we're much more compassionate, much more merciful, much more everything. Because when it says that down here, that Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents, that plain goes into morally upright. Look at the NLT. Jacob had a quiet temperament, preferring to stay at home. I thought I was going to say something else. Let's look at this more. Let's look at this plain. sound, wholesome. Here is hitting the nail on the head. This is what it's talking about. This is us, complete, morally innocent, having integrity. I know the vast majority of our people are corrupted today, but this is how we're created to be. This is how we are normally, okay? One who is morally and ethically pure. Yes, I know we're corrupted today, okay? The ways of I'm gonna paraphrase the scripture. The ways of Jacob are more excellent than his neighbor, but the ways of his neighbor seduceth him. Let me see if I can find that. Since my paraphrase was choppy. I'm not sure how they spell neighbor. Let's try the regular spelling. See, I thought so. Let's see. Is it seduceth? Let's see here. Boom, there it is. The righteous, that's talking about us. You have to know that, is more excellent than his neighbor. Okay? But the way of the wicked seduceth them. Right, and we get corrupted. And when we get corrupted, our wickedness can exceed the wickedness of the wicked. Okay, there's another precept that says that as well. Okay, but how are we at our core? How are we as far as how we're created to be? Okay, this describes us right here. Again, this is how we're created to be. Again, two special nations, one in righteousness, one in wickedness, one who is morally and ethically pure. That was Jacob, our forefather. Okay? But two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. See? And so this is the birth of Jacob and Esau, the two special nations on the planet. All the other nations were already here. Okay. Now, I don't want to say the birth of the the righteous. We were already here because we were preserved through Noah, right? But this is where the wicked come on the scene, because all of the wicked have been wiped out in the flood. The descendants of Cain, they had all been wiped out in the flood. Now they're being reintroduced back to the earth here. We were already here, from Noah down through Arphaxad, Peleg, Reu, I believe. I don't remember all their names. Down through Nahor to Terah, and then Abram. Abram's name was changed to Abraham, to Isaac, and now to Jacob. Right? So we were already here, but this is where Esau comes on the scene. Esau is the last one to come back on the scene. But even though we were here, we weren't established yet. All the other nations were getting established, but then you had Moab and Ammon come on the scene in Genesis 19. But here, we're still low key, and Esau is coming on the scene, and that's where, basically things get solidified with Jacob, and then from Jacob come the 12 patriarchs. See? And it says here in Genesis 25 and 25, and the first, Esau, Edom, came out red all over like an hairy garment. He came out what? Red all over like a hairy garment. He came out the color of sin. He came out the color that is associated with sin and wickedness, because he is the man of sin. The Most High made him red because he is the man of sin. And red represents sin. See? That ties into your Revelation 6 and 4. And then when you bring in, if you recall, he was blessed with the sword that was given unto him, a great sword. So that red color of the horse and the fact that he's blessed with the sword, okay, that blessing, he still has that blessing. It hasn't been taken from him, okay? He still has that blessing. That's telling you he's the rider on the red horse. And all you got to do is look at his track record. Look at how much violence and war and bloodshed has been on the earth under his rulership, okay? All of my adult life that I've been paying attention, and I've been on the scene now. I'm in my sixth decade. All my adult life, there's been nothing but wars. There's always some warring and fighting going on the earth, and it's done nothing but greatly ramp up and intensify. Why is that? Because the violent and bloody man, blessed with the sword, the rider on the red horse, is in control of the earth. He's the top man on the planet. He's running the show. That's why. Okay? And so we read down here, and so Jacob and Esau were born. Okay? And that 26 is very heavy too. I got to read it. And after that came his brother out, Jacob, our great forefather, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and that's very spiritual. And his name was called Jacob. This is all going into the right here, right now, today. It's going into the look on the calendar, whatever day you see, it's going into the right here, right now, today. Cancel. Come on now. 2nd Ezra 6, verses 7, 8, and 9. What was the significance of that? Why did that happen? Does this have any significance at all? That when it says, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. So what? Just something to say, I mean, something cute. Oh, look at that. They came out connected. The younger brother is holding on to his older brother, but it don't mean anything, or does it? And his name was called Jacob, which means which in the Hebrew is Ya'iquab, and it literally means supplanter. And that's why Esau was lamenting. Isn't his name supplanter? In other words, like somebody who basically figures out a way to one up you or usurp you, get up over you. Okay. Ya'iquab in the Hebrew, supplanter. Okay. Somebody who finds a way to one up you or get up over you. Okay. That's what a supplanter is. See what else it says here. A bunch of word salad. Okay, but not much here. Whole bunch of stuff, but not much here. Okay, here you go. Layer of snares. Let me see here. Yeah, it doesn't really go into it, but you get the idea. That's what it's talking about. And that was our great forefather Jacob's name, Ya'iquab. And his name was changed from supplanter. Okay, his name was changed from supplanter. For the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. Okay, his name was changed from supplanter to he is the prince of the power. That's literally Israel in the Hebrew. Yasha'Allah. It literally means he prince power. He is the prince of the power. Or in other words, he is the son of God. So his name was changed from supplanter to he is the son of God. And although you look up Israel in the Old Testament and it won't tell you that, it's going to tell you that Israel means something else. When you go to Israel in the New Testament and you look it up, it does give you the proper meaning. Because the Hebrew word, the correct pronunciation is Yasha'Allah. And the Hebrew word Yah means he, the Hebrew word Shar means prince, and the Hebrew word Allah means power or God. He is the son of God. He, son, God. He, prince, power. Those are synonymous. And all you do is you put in the connecting words, because you don't talk like that in English, right? You don't say he, prince, power. He, son, God. You say he is the son of God. He is the prince of the power. So just put in those connecting words and you got it. That's literally what Yasha'Allah, which is Israel in the English. Okay, that's literally what Yasha'Allah, which is Israel in the Hebrew, rather. That's literally what it translates to. That's literally what it means. And I'm going to show you that real quick. Let me see here. I just got to find Israel over here somewhere. I know. Let me go with Luke. Go to Luke 1. trying not to do a search for it down here. Let's go down here. Here we go. There we go. And I'm just going to show you that it literally means he is the Son of God. Okay, here it is. It won't break it down correct in the Old Testament because they lie in there, but here it does. Okay, you see there, this is the word Israel. He shall be, it puts a little bit of a twist on it, like for a future tense, but that future tense is not really there. But outside of that, they're hitting the nail on the head. He shall be a prince of God. It's actually, he is a prince of God or a son of God. What's a prince? A son. He is the Son of God, right? So they make it future tense, but it's actually present tense. Okay. But they tell you that it's really getting at and talking about the idea of it is that you're a son of God. Okay. And that's what the Israelite men are. We are the sons of God here on earth. Okay. So when we go back over to the Genesis 25, I'm not going to make this too much longer. We'll just have to keep going with this lesson series. We go back over to the Genesis 25. And I was just showing you the verse 26 and how that ties into 2 Ezra 6, 7, 8, and 9. Because that's a very, very heavy and symbolic thing. The Most High had that happen intentionally, of course, but it's recorded in the scriptures because it has very heavy significance. Okay? The saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. Daniel 7 and what is it, 12? No. 18. But the saints of the Most High, which that's us, the Israelites, shall take the kingdom. Okay? But okay, yeah, we're going to be giving it, but that word take is really driving the point home. Okay? It's not just going to be given. It is given to us, but we're going to take it. Okay? To receive. Yeah, they're missing something there, man. Okay? We're going to take it. All right? Let's see here. To take, to receive. Yeah. So the taking there is actually what it's getting at. Okay? The King James Version got the best word there. Okay? But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. And if you want an example of how we're going to take it, you go to Jeremiah 51 and start at like 19, go down to like 23. I think you can keep on going. Okay? I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to show it to you. It's bloody and it's brutal. Okay? Jeremiah 51. Yep. Okay? Yeah, the Most High is going to use us to break in pieces the nations. I'm just going to read that first verse. Okay, and it keeps on going. It keeps on going. Okay? The Most High, our Father Yahweh, let's get 19 and 20. The portion of Jacob is not like them. That's referring to our Father Yahweh. For he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. Yahweh of hosts is his name. And this is what our Father says, speaking to his sons, the sons of God, the princes of the power. This is what he says about us. This is talking about once we've been glorified, once we've been restored and returned to our former estate. Once we've we're changed. This mortal puts on immortality. This corruptible puts on incorruption. And we're changed to be like Yahushai. 1 John 3, 1 and 2. And Zechariah 12 and 8. And Yahushai is like the Most High. And we're going to be like the Most High as well. Okay, Yahushai is not equal to the Father. He's less than the Father. But he's like the Father. And we're not going to be equal to Yahushai either. But we're going to be like him, but less than him. Okay, we're going to be immortal God kings. And that's going to be after our deliverance and salvation, when we're changed and our bodies our bodies are changed, and we become incorruptible and immortal. We drop the corruptible, drop the mortal, and we put on incorruption and put on immortality, and we're changed. All right, we're changed, and we become immortal God kings. And once that happens, after our deliverance and salvation, and when we come back down here on this earth, we're going to take the kingdom. And what's that going to be like? Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee, talking to his sons, the sons of God, the princes of the power, the Israelite men, for with thee will I break in pieces the nations. Which ones? All of them. And with thee will I destroy kingdoms. All right. And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider. Okay, that's old. That's metaphoric speak for modern military men. Okay, modern military men. And with for example, the horse and his rider, the horse would be synonymous or metaphorically referring to like the modern military vehicles. Modern military vehicles, because you should know, man, the militaries of today aren't typically on horses. They're in light armored vehicles, tanks, Humvees, and things like that. So that horse is talking about the military vehicles and his rider and the military men and women that are controlling it. Okay. And with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. The chariot is going into most directly the military aircraft. Okay. Which the chariot can also be going into the vehicles on land as well, but you're going to bring in the military aircraft as well. Okay, the military aircraft, the fighter jets and whatnot, the stealth jets, the bombers, all of them, but specifically the fighter jets. Okay, and his rider, the rider would be the pilots. Okay, what do you expect Jeremiah to refer to him as? You expect Jeremiah to write, with thee will I break in pieces the Humvees and the light armored vehicles and the tanks and the military men that pilot them? No, he says the horse and his rider. You expect him to say, with thee will I break in pieces the SU fighter jets and the F-35 fighter jets and the F-16 fighter jets and the MiG fighter jets? No, he says the chariot and his rider. This is all put in terminology that is based off of what's common back during that time, but it's talking about now. With thee also will I break in pieces man and women. This has never happened. Where, yeah, we've had spiritual power, but we only used the spiritual power in limited applications against the nations that we were going to war against. But this isn't about us going to war against one nation or a series of nations so that we can get the land of Canaan. This is talking about the nations, plural. With thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms, all of them. This is talking about what Daniel 7 and 18 is talking about. The saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, which is a worldwide kingdom with no end. And this is what it's going to look like. With thee also will I break in pieces men and women. And with thee will I break in pieces old and young. And with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. I will also break in pieces, a lot of pieces here, with thee the shepherd and his flock. And with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen, and with everything. And with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers. And it goes on and on and on and on. And this is all end time biblical prophecy, which is right where we're at. That portion there is coming up shortly after our deliverance and salvation and the destruction of the kingdoms of the heathen nations. Okay, so when we go back over here, this Genesis 25, this is what we're getting over here. This is what it's talking about. Very, very heavy. Then answered I and said, which shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? What's going to be the separation, the line of demarcation, where one time, one age, one kingdom ends and another begins? What's going to be the time, the line of demarcation, the separation of the time of the Gentiles and the beginning of the time that comes after it, which is the kingdom of heaven. What's the parting? What's going to be the separation between the two when this one ends and the kingdom of heaven begins? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac. Notice how the answer starts at the beginning in Genesis, even though he's asking about the end time events. The answer begins with the beginning. That's why he goes with Abraham. He goes into Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and Esau, because you don't understand the end without understanding the beginning. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held fast first, meaning tightly and securely, fastly, the heel of Esau. This is the significance of that. And here's the reason why. The Most High had that set up in the spirit. For Esau is the end of the world, meaning at the end of this age, when this age is going to end and the next age is going to begin, which is the kingdom of heaven, the parting asunder of the two times, the parting asunder of the two kingdoms, when that parting comes, right at that point, the top man on the planet, the man that's in control of the planet, the man that's the top man on the earth, who's ruling the world, is Esau. Esau is the end of the world. He's in charge at the end. And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Jacob, Israel is the man in charge, the man in control in the kingdom, the time, the age that comes next. And that was the answer. And that's the reason why verse 26 says, and after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, because we're going to pull them down. We're going to take it. Where you think you're going, Esau? Because Esau think he's going to infinity and beyond. Buzz Lightyear. He think the inward thought of the houses is that they're going to rule forever. But we got him by the heel. We're going to pull him down, and we're going to take the kingdom, and we're going to bust him up. And his name was called Iquab. We're going to supplant him. But we ain't doing anything wrong. This is the will of the Most High. This is what he determined and set up in the spirit from the beginning. This is the way it's always going to be. Okay? Just like Jacob supplanted Esau in Genesis 27, the Most High set it up that way. And just like we getting ready to supplant him, here it is, we down. We couldn't possibly be in any worse shape. And Esau's about to come and finish us off. But we're going to pull him down. We're going to supplant him. And we're going to become the sons of God. Just like our great forefather, Jacob, his name was shortly changed. Shortly after that was changed from Jacob to Israel, was shortly changed from supplanter to he is the son of God. Our name, I meant to say, we're going to go from supplanting him, pulling him down, and we're going to be immortal God kings. We're going to be the fact that we are the sons of God is going to be fully manifested. 1 John 3:1-2, Zechariah 12:8. Okay. And let's get a little bit more. We're going to deal with the 25. We'll get into the 27 next time. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, morally and ethically pure, dwelling in tents. This is why the Most High loved Jacob, and he hated Esau. Esau was faithless. He was, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. The opposite was true for Esau. Whereas Jacob was morally and ethically pure, Jacob was morally and ethically pure. Esau was morally and ethically corrupt. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison. But hey, we love good food, right? But Rebekah loved Jacob, Iquab. Now in this time, it's reversed. Okay, the Israelite woman is all in love with Esau. And I was out doing my thing today, and I saw one of the Northern Kingdom daughters of Zion, and she was just all teeth everywhere up in Esau's face. And Esau was all faggoty and effeminate, but she still was just teeth all up in his face. And it's like, you're making me sick. Stop it, please. Okay? So but back here, Rebekah, the Israelite woman, she wasn't feeling Esau like that, even though Esau was her son. Okay? And let me see here. Yeah, verse 29. And Jacob sought pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red. Why? Because it's bloody. Haven't you noticed that Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, he likes his meat? Really? Really, he likes it raw. And you can go on social media and find a lot of examples of them eating raw meat. A lot of examples of it. You can find examples of them taking their young 9-10-year-old daughters out into the field, shooting Bambi through the heart, and then just, they go and they just cut Bambi open, pull the heart out, and just tear right into the heart. Father and daughter bonding moment. A bloody father and daughter Edomite bonding moment. Eating bloody, raw, bloody heart. Still warm. You find this on social media, okay? That's why it was red. For I am faint, therefore was his name called Edom. Edom meaning what? Okay? Therefore was his name called Edom. Why? Because he wanted that bloody stew, bloody pottage. Edom means what? Red. Edom, Adawam in the Hebrew, red, and they are the red man. The color of the name of their nation is the color red, and it's associated with sinfulness, wickedness, evil, because they are the man of sin. The man of sin is Esau, but Esau is what? A whole nation. So the singular is actually plural, all of them. This is who they're created to be, and who can make that straight with the Most High has made crooked. But this Edomite here seems to be moral. He ain't. Okay? Adawam, red. Okay? And why was he called red? Because he ate that red pottage. For I am faint. Therefore, meaning for that reason, was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, this was all set up in the spirit, and here Esau agreed. And how despicable for you to treat your birthright like this. The birthright is a very significant thing, extremely significant and important. But what was it to Esau? Nothing. He didn't give a damn about it. Okay? And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. Jacob, our great forefather Jacob, he desired that birthright, and he understood how precious and valuable it was. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. Was he? He had ate yesterday, and he probably had breakfast. So I'm sure he had breakfast. No doubt he had breakfast. No doubt he ate before he went out into the field. He had not even gone 12 hours without eating. I doubt that seriously. He ate that morning, went out into the field. It's not even 12 hours. He's back, and he's talking about he's going to die if he don't get something to eat. Okay? And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. No, he wasn't. Okay? Just showing you that he is a carnal. That was another word I was looking for. But let's just go with carnal man. Okay? And impatient too. And what profit shall this birthright do to me? Notice the use of the word this. It's like, what am I supposed to do with this? What is this? It was a condescending. It was a condescending. It was a condescending statement. And in other words, well, this is what it means. Let's just go there now, and I'm getting ready to wrap up. Hebrews. It's like, what good is this birthright going to do me? That's what it was. And here's the proof. Hebrews 12 and 16 and 17. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau. This is the reason why Esau is being mentioned. Okay? Because Esau, what was going on back there has everything to do with the right here and the right now. Okay? Esau, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel, one bloody serving of stew, sold his birthright. Okay? And when he did that, what did he do? For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, two different things, but they're connected. The birthright and the blessing typically go to the elder son. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have, but he didn't give a damn about the birthright. He wanted the blessing though. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. Who rejected him? The Most High. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. That was some different wording I was looking for here. Some different wording I was looking for. It doesn't say it here because I want to tie that in to bring in, but this does go to show you that he was rejected, and there's no way back. There's no way back. Okay, no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. Don't be getting a bleeding heart for Esau, because he'll come with them tears, and you'll start to feel like, oh man, well let's cut the devil a break. No place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. That's the reason why when you read in Ezekiel 25, the Most High is going to have to put his vengeance on us, because we are very compassionate and merciful people. All right. And we will have a tendency to cut the devil a little bit of a break. No, the Most High ain't having that. The Most High is going to put his vengeance on us for the Edomites. Right. Let me see. Where's this other precept at? I thought it was here. Maybe I'm just missing it. Oh, it says it right back there. I thought it was in Hebrews. Okay. Yeah, okay. I thought it was in Hebrews. All right. But yeah, we'll just go get it there then. Right? Yeah. So, and Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. Hey, let's make this official now. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. And when he did, what was the wording over here? Yeah, that's what he did. When he sold it for one morsel of meat, okay, he despised it. Okay, and you know that's what he was doing because of his wording. What profit shall this birthright do to me? In other words, why do I give a damn about this? I'm about to die. I haven't had anything to eat since breakfast. I'm about to die. Hey, what do I give a damn about this birthright for? Hey, just give me that stew. Swear it. Let's make it official. Don't be giving me none of this. I was just playing games. I didn't mean it. Swear it to me. And he did. Okay, and Jacob said, swear to me this day, and he sware unto him. And he sold his birthright unto Jacob for a morsel, for a bowl of bloody stew. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Didn't give a damn about it. Didn't think twice. He probably thought he got a good deal. Not only did he trade his birthright for this morsel or a bowl of bloody stew, but he probably feel like he got the better deal. I'm sure it was good, for him. For me, it's abominable, man. But that's their thing. They love blood. They love the taste of blood. Okay. But he probably got up. He probably thinking to himself, man, I traded in something I didn't give a damn about. I traded in something I don't care about at all for something that I do care about. I care about eating some good food, good for him anyway. But this birthright, I don't care about that. And he traded it in. And he never cared about the birthright. He never cared about the birthright. All right. He did have some love for his father on some type of level. So he knew that was his birthright. He knew that he was supposed to honor it, that he was supposed to care about it. He knew that it was supposed to, have some significance to him. So he just was acting. He was playing the part. because that's what he was supposed to do. You know, it's that in certain circumstances, people whose heart aren't in something, but they know that that's what they're supposed to be doing, they just play the part. They go along with it because that's what they're supposed to do. That's what Esau was doing. But did he really give a damn about the birthright? Was it really in his heart to care about the birthright? No, not at all. And he displayed it here. He displayed it here. Okay, then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. He showed contempt for it. Okay, he didn't. In other words, he treated it like nothing to him. He didn't care about it. He treated it very, very disrespectfully. Okay, and that's saying the least. And we can ready to wrap up. To despise, hold in contempt, disdain, regard with contempt, to be vile, to be worthless. Okay, it was nothing to him. Okay, he all that had transpired to that point, he was just playing the part, going along with it, acting a role. He was just acting. You know, because he was just doing he was just playing the part and doing what was expected of him, you know, for the sake of pleasing his father and his mother. But what was that birthright to him? Nothing. It was worthless. So he went away feeling like he got the better end of the stick. He got a good deal. He traded in something that was worthless for some food, and now he's got a full belly and he's good. Okay, not gonna die now. See. And so then when we get over to Genesis 27, he lost the blessing. And everything that's taking place on planet Earth right now is because he's seeking to get the blessing back. Rulership of the earth. And it's all futile, as we've already brought out in Job, the 20th chapter, and also Malachi 1 and 4. All right, but I'm going to wrap it up here. We'll get into that Job. We'll get into that Genesis 27 next time, subject to the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shemashah. Subject to the Spirit, I meant to say. And then we'll go to the Habakkuk and to the Revelation 13, all subject to the Spirit. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Before I do, I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shabbat, Rechak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and respect to the brothers teaching and pushing this truth throughout the four corners of the earth. Adawan Radazah, listen, was edifying and encouraging to you Achim and any Achwaf that may be listening and or watching. Ayash Maya Kwanah, Azanyam La Shemai, let him who has ears to hear. Kwam Yasharala, Baba Kwasha Abai Babal Etha, Wakal Adawam. Shalom Lahabachariam, peace to the elect. Shalom.